Good morning. My name's Ryan Littlestone from forexflow.live. A bit of a change of pace today. I was going to lead with something else and next week talk about the pound and heading back into Brexit and Parliament reopening. But it's all kicked off this morning, so that sort of forced my hand somewhat. So we're going to chat about that today. The news we've had today is that Boris Johnson is looking to prorogue Parliament. What he's wanting to do is basically extend the current recess to October the 14th. This has come on the back of opposition parties having a meeting yesterday to get together their plans to try and stop a no-deal Brexit. So Boris has moved very quickly to get this done. That's hit the pound this morning. We've seen it drop all the way down under 122, sort of 121.60 area. And so really we're kicking back into Brexit. Long and short. This was something I was going to talk about next week because that's when Parliament was due to go back, but it's all started now. So what we're doing is entering a very, very volatile period for the pound. This cannot be underestimated. We've had volatile periods before, but this is potentially going to be a real crunch time. What it's doing is we're going to have battles on all sides. We're going to have the Remainers and the anti-no deal people fighting against Boris on this extension to recess. Boris is facing that from within his own party, let alone opposition parties. So we've got the threat of no confidence votes being thrown around. We've got the threat of general elections happening. And we've got a pretty short window for this to happen. Parliament, in reality, has only a few days between now and if this extension gets agreed, to have sitting days in Parliament where they can put together a plan to stop all this. So what's going to happen is we're going to find that we're going to get a lot of toing and froing on the pound. We're going to get Boris and his side going on about how they're going to get a deal with the EU. On the flip side, we're going to have all these anti-no deal people and Remainers fighting against that. So if you look at the pound chart at the moment, it's pretty hard to pick levels. One of the areas I've been looking at is the 120 level. This is something I've highlighted in previous videos. When we're looking at big levels that are technically in play, if we get a break of these big levels, then we get some follow through. This news that we've got today potentially brings that 120 level into focus once again. We know there's big support down there. It's a huge psychological level. So if we get a break, the way to play it is, depending on the news that drives us there, you can look for longs into the 120 area. Be very careful, as I say, with this increased volatility. And look to reverse that into a short if the level does break, because being a big level, we could get a very solid breakthrough. Again, I can't stress enough and repeat enough that this is going to be a big headline-driven market at the moment. You can sort of forget the data. You can forget the Bank of England and most of what they may say. This is going to be a big headline-driven market. So there is going to be opportunities to run with certain headlines. The last couple of days, I've faded a couple of big headlines that came out. If you get them in the right place and if you understand them, then there are pips to be had quickly. Never keep a trade longer than you need to. Certainly don't give it much room. If you're getting a trade, it goes your way, bring your stop right down to break even, limit your risk as much as you can, take profit where it is. And, if you're wrong, don't be scared to get out. There's no point sitting and hoping in this pair at the moment or in the pound, because if it runs, it's going to run big. So pretty much all we've got to do is watch volatility. The safest option is to stay out. If you don't understand Brexit fully, if you don't understand what's going on in Parliament, then the best course of action is to pick another pair, leave the pound alone and let it do its thing. Otherwise, watch the big levels, trade them accordingly. Don't need to give much room to them. And hopefully you can grab a few pips on the way. And we'll see where this Brexit mess takes us. And we'll probably have a review of that next week. And good luck to you this week.